Um, a lot of the people that I've been interviewing have had experiences of synchronicity. As they start focusing on a spiritual path, things start coming together in unusual ways. I'm wondering if that's true for you as well.
It's very true.
Can you give me an example?
I there's so many. I'm not sure where to start. Let me give you an example of something else. I've had experiences transfer between lives.
Ooh, let's hear
I've
about
had
that.
I've had experiences. Well, I'll tell you this one. I was helping to host in 1992. I was helping to host the Native American East Coast celebration in honor of Columbus Day, which Native Americans do not want to call Columbus Day. And I was involved with some very powerful medicine people. And one day I was leaving a parking lot a couple of weeks beforehand in my VW van, and I felt a bump, and I went out, and the right front tire was literally turned around facing backwards. I couldn't believe it. It was turned around facing backwards. So I got it towed, and it was Friday, and Monday we went back in there to look at it, and the damn tire was back again. It was straight again. 2 weeks later, while I was very busy running this, helping, two of us were running this festival, my van, the right front tire rolled into a ditch. And there was a huge jolt. A huge jolt. And I thought, oh my God, you know, I've done something really bad. Nothing happened. It was fine.
You
And
mean
I
the
knew,
tires separated, or the whole van went down with it?
here's the two front tires, right?
Right.
It's okay for them to do this.
Yeah.
It's not okay for one of them to go all the way like this by itself.
No.
No. All right, that's what would have happened when I hit that ditch. And in fact, it happened 2 weeks beforehand, and I knew that these medicine men were playing with me.
Oh.
Or not playing with me, but that literally they had. I don't know how to say this. This stuff is hard to talk about, but somehow, however this works, I was going to have that accident at a time when I was badly needed to run this whole thing, this whole festival thing. And so that wasn't going to be allowed to happen. So this event got transferred back 2 weeks earlier, right? And then it magically got fixed the next, 2 days later. I regarded that as a transfer of effects from the future, into the past, if that makes sense to you. As far as examples of synchronicities, geez. Let me tell you what I think synchronicities are.
Love it.
If we think of reality is emerging. Reality is a process of emerging from a deeper consciousness, I would say. Consciousness-based. And it emerges in different levels. And when we get up here on the surface, we see two things happen that seem, oh my God, how could they possibly be connected? Does that make sense? But they're connected. It's like, oh my God, look at this. How could that be? How could I meet this person? Or how could this tree fall just then, or something like that? But what if, in the process, as we move down through these levels of emergence, things are sorted out differently? That people that are akin to us in various ways they're right next to us there. They're not separated.
They're entangled, to use a physics term.
Yeah. They're entangled down here on level 6 and up on level 12 where it emerges into reality. They look like that's amazing, but it's not. And that is exactly the way Noam Chomsky's notion of generative grammar worked, essentially, that there was a deep structure and a surface structure, and that the deep structure was arranged differently from the way things emerged on the surface. And I think that's probably true of reality as well.
Well, quantum physics probably confirms that, right?
Um, I think quantum physics is a philosophical quagmire. Descartes and Newton put something together that became our mainstream worldview. It's coherent, if limited and problematic in certain ways.
It's mechanistic, materialist.
And reductionist. And so the thing, quantum theory has been so mysterious that the maxim has been shut up and calculate. Shut up and calculate. Don't ask these questions. Hold on, let me just get the right reference. Rosenbaum and Kushner, The Quantum Enigma, written in 2011, is the best book on this. It's called The Quantum Enigma, Physics Encounters Consciousness. There's 12 different ideas about how do we understand quantum physics. And the thing is, all of them are ways of trying to keep consciousness out of it. And you can't keep consciousness out of it. And we don't, if the mainstream thought process allows that consciousness is a prime, that it's, do you understand me, that motion and energy and things like this are epiphenomenon, that they're not primarily what's going on. There's something deeper is happening. That just overturns the whole paradigm of modern society. So quantum physics is enormously interesting. It's leading in the right direction. But as far as some kind of coherent explanations of how psychic phenomena work and things like this, it's not the last word. I mean, it's barely the beginning, if that makes sense.
But doesn't non-locality and the quantum information field and entanglement and those kind of laws explain information transfer and healing or intuition or whatever?
I think they're great leads. They're great analogies. They're great things that need to be followed up in various ways. And as you know, Dean Radin and various people have done an awful lot of that. But I don't think that just to use a word, to take the physics concept of entanglement and use it about people or things like that, that's a metaphor. That's fine, it's good, it's helpful, but it's not a model yet, if that makes sense. We don't understand this yet.
Right. We don't understand how entangled particles can affect each other from a distance.
Distance isn't real.
No space, no time.
Yeah, and we have a linguistic problem there too, because the minute you say outside of space and time, you've made another space metaphor. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's similar to the conduit metaphor. It's hard to get out of it because there's no language for it. You say outside of space and time, beneath space and time. Those are all space metaphors, right? So you're postulating another space that's bigger. The only thing that works that I know of is we talk about non-local, atemporal. That doesn't involve any kinds of, extraneous space or time that we put the littler space and time into. I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
It is.